Lockdown, son. Best pizza party ever. Woo! Let's welcome these folks to the Uso Penitentiary. Hold on.
What's happening? Hold on. What?
Oh, I'm sorry to break up this post-Rumble pizza party, man. I got a message. Hold on. Something important. Oh, girl, you crazy.
I mean, we were right in the middle of something. I mean...
important people.
I'm important people.
No, this fine piece of specimen. Well, she makes a good point. All right. Well, I might as well tell you. Natty Neidhart just told me that why are we taking a long time to bring out the Clash of Champions podcast and why we haven't done the Royal Rumble yet. The only thing I'm confused about this conversation right now is the word podcast.
Wait, you know Natty Neidhart?
Wait, we're doing podcasts?
Technically, I guess it's a vlog, but yeah, we've called it a podcast for the beginning, which, by the way, this is the 33rd episode. But, dude, let's go back. You know Natty Neidhart? You know Mrs. Faded Saint?
Every time we talk about wrestling and you tell me, hey, video call me, we're going to have some fun. You've been recording it and putting it somewhere for a podcast?
Yes. I thought you knew this. Who do you think we were talking to when we asked for questions?
Well, you made me call my room off the ropes for a reason. I thought we were talking from the room off the ropes.
Are you on medicine again?
No. You know what's not fair? I thought we were friends. I thought we were going to hang out and just talk about wrestling all day. But no. I don't have any friends.
That's just... I guess we should get to this podcast then.
Pizza's so good. Yeah. You know what? Podcast. Let's do that.
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the interruption there. Then I'm in a self-realization. You're a self-realization. We're going to do a mega podcast today. My boy over there. Comedy the Faded Saint. And I'm over here getting super wet snooker. I almost choked on pizza, but this is Off the Ropes! Welcome back to Off the Ropes. You're talking to your man over here, Kane Super Snooker. And I got my man over there from New Orleans, Comedy the Faded Saint. And by God, Maggle, we have one hell of a kicker here. We want to first thank you very much for being so patient with us. I know that Clash of Champions, Royal Rumble, and NXT TakeOver is going to be a super packed show. We took a super delay because of the holidays and everything going on right now with friends and family. We said, we're going to wait till the Rumble, smack all that soup bone together because it's just pretty much on forward for the road to WrestleMania, baby. So we might as well just get this out of the way so we can all focus on the main events. But other than that, how we doing over there, baby?
Well, I can breathe. So that's a marked improvement over my last month.
And one of the main reasons why we made that decision to go hiatus.
Yes, like Christmas and then flu and then bronchitis. And we're squeaking this in before Mardi Gras because, as you know, I'm down in New Orleans. So, but man, we have got a lot to go to. We go through. We're going to start off with Clash of Champions. We are going to play Kami tells Kane about TakeOver Philly. And after the break, we are going to hit the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, folks, we in this case, I did commit a Royal Wrestling sin for our podcast here. I didn't get a chance to see TakeOver at all. So it's going to be one pleasant surprise mostly because the week of the Royal Rumble, I was pretty much half busy with a lot of family, so I couldn't get a chance to watch it. And when we were going to do the podcast, I didn't have time to watch it either. So we're just going to play it as, it happened. But I know that my man over here is going to definitely give us the good deets on what happened at TakeOver. But before we definitely want to talk about this Clash.
Before we can get to TakeOver, we have to talk about the Clash of Champions, which was the last pay-per-view of last year and the first pay-per-view of the one pay-per-view a month era. Thank freaking God. How nice was it to not have have a whole 3 or 4 weeks before Clash of Champions and then another 3 or 4 weeks before Royal Rumble.
It kind of felt good, but obviously, we're not going to get that kind of experience just yet with our podcast show here, because clearly we decided to soup bone everything together. But I'm looking forward to doing. Now, the thing is Elimination Chamber and Fastlane going to be separate months too?
Yes, Elimination Chamber is this month. Fastlane is next month, followed by TakeOver Philly and WrestleMania. Of both, I will be attending live.
Jelly.
Check this out. The tickets for the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania are as expensive as the WrestleMania tickets. The cheapest Monday Night Raw ticket is $200 for the nosebleed section.
I believe that, especially since it's supposed to be technically Beach Ball Mania.
Yeah. But at any rate, we are talking about Clash of Champions, and we have to, of course, start off with Mojo Rawley versus Zack Ryder.
I feel so old ago. That gimmick is dead as a doornail. But
Mojo won. To the surprise of no one.
It happened.
So, yeah, Mojo won. It really wasn't much of anything to talk about.
Well, to pretty much to reset what Vince McMahon said to Randy Savage when Randy had this whole great idea for doing a thing against Shawn Michaels so many moons ago. He goes, "Man, Randy, this is a generation of, we're putting a youth movement together." Well, guess what, Zack Ryder? You is old to Vince McMahon now. So
you're way too old, and you got over by yourself. So this, what am I drinking here today?
Well, that is an insult to him too. When you get over by yourself.
Yeah. How dare you? How dare you get over without the Vince McMahon machine? Jerk. But Zack Ryder, you got over to yourself. I don't know why you're still loyal to this company, but you are, and for that, I salute you with my pale ale that I'm drinking here. But again, Mojo Rawley, to the surprise of no one.
I think we actually talked. I think we just talked longer than the match.
Yeah, we did, actually. But that brought us to the pay-per-view proper, and that brought us to the biggest surprise of the night, in that it was the U.S. Championship three-way match. It was the man who cannot play tennis, Boring Corbin, versus glorious Bobby Roode versus Dolph Ziggler. The man who is the best at what he does, and what he does is take wicked bumps and job. Except not on this night.
I guess
on this night, he pulled it out. It was a really great way to start off the entire pay-per-view. It was a nice surprise to see Dolph actually win.
I think it would have been nicer if they kept that integrity version of himself instead of that weird gimmick he's got going on with the whole. Yeah, nobody cares.
Then he shows up on SmackDown like two nights later, and he's like, "You don't deserve me," and then just left the belt. So it was like, why bother winning it at all? I'll tell you what, Vacant is the most decorated champion of all time.
Yes.
For the most part, this was a really great match. I mean, you've got Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode in it, and I guess Baron Corbin was there, but, lack of tennis skills means that he was not really a decent part of this match. But at any rate, do you have really anything to say about this match? I mean, it was a really good match, but it wasn't like I'm struggling to remember anything besides the pinfall out of nowhere.
Nope. The only thing that kills me is this was the last time we actually saw a serious push with Baron Corbin too, because after that it went downhill.
Yeah,
and they were really pushing him too. It looked like he was going to go up into the heavyweight status.
Well, he was supposed to be. They were supposed to start his program with AJ Styles last summer, where he was going to be the main heel, and then he screwed up.
Didn't do a Twitter boo boo or something.
Yeah, he smarted off to a veteran on Twitter. which I don't blame him for, because he was one of those guys up until that point that was completely in character all the time. So of course he would. That's in his character. And then they got pissed at him for doing it. So make up your mind, WWE. I can't be mad at Boring Corbin for that.
Well, you have to be fucking John Cena, I guess, to get away with murder.
I guess. Anyway, but after that was the tag team 4-way match. It wasn't an elimination match. It was just a 4-way match. It was American Alpha-ish versus Rusev Day versus the New Day versus the Usos.
It was a good tag team match, man.
It was a good tag team match, but I mean, just like the Usos just like buried the division.
Well, that's what happens when you're cousins with The Rock.
I guess so, but I mean, don't get me wrong. They've been on fire since they ditched the paint gimmick. But I mean, that's kind of the problem here. It's like they've killed themselves out of much. I mean, the Ascension are a joke. Fashion Files are really kind of a novelty act. Rusev Day is hot, and Rusev Day was like getting way over. Man, like when Aiden was like doing the whole thing in the beginning. And like Rusev grabbed the mic. It's like, no, I'm going to do it this time. Like the crowd was as hot for Rusev Day as they were for like the New Day. Yep, like the crowd is into it. And poor Shelton Benjamin and Clark and Chad Gable.
Clark Gable.
Poor Shelton Benjamin. It's poor American Alpha-ish, man. They are so athletically gifted, but. And Clark Gable is entertaining, and Shelton Benjamin's entertaining. I don't get why they are just burying them.
I think they're punishing Shelton. That's it.
For what?
For leaving them?
I guess, but that makes no sense. But anywho, I mean, it was like it's one of those things where this was a great match. New Day and Usos.
It did look like American Alpha 2.0 was going to win too.
For a little while, they've been teasing that for a bit, but then they did the same thing that they did like with the Wyatt family way back in the day with Rowan and Harper, where they would just almost win, but just not pull it out, just barely, until everyone stopped caring. And this was no different because I mean, I think it was Xavier and Big E were the ones that were in the match for New Day.
Which, by the way, I think during that time, that's when they started using Xavier as an actual third talent.
Yeah. But, I mean, Xavier's been, like really, like, stepping up.
Yeah, that's the thing. He was used as a mascot for most of the New Day time frame, and now they are doing a rotation, like Freebird style.
Right.
So that's that. I think that's I'm not sure if there was, like, a somewhat pseudo-punishment deal going on from the Page incident or not. But
possibly. But, I mean, it's one of those things where this was... I'm trying to remember. Yeah, this was the match of the night. Really was. And, you know, it was what it was. The Usos escape with their titles and...
Literally escape, though. That was like... Yeah. I think it was a roll-up pin, right?
Yeah. It was... but, I mean, no. They super kicked the crap out of Gable, I think. Because I think that's where WWE almost got in trouble, because I think it was Saxton who said super kick party, which you don't do. You told the Young Bucks they couldn't too sweet, so they actually have super kick party trademarked, so best to not piss them off, because I'm sure that they will be more than happy to return the favor. At any rate, Usos over like just everyone. And that led us in to Charlotte Flair versus Natalya for the SmackDown Women's Championship. You know what? The World Women's Championship.
Yes.
We're gonna start differentiating them, because we're not gonna. They deserve more than a Raw than SmackDown title, and I'm gonna get into this in when we start talking about the Royal Rumble at the end of the show.
Royal point finger. You mean?
It's kind of sort of something that Alexa said on Raw last night. I want to address, but it's more than the SmackDown Women's Championship. It is the World Women's Championship, and yes, it's a stupid name, but Alexa is the Universal Women's Champion. They deserve an actual title to their title rather than just a brand specific title. So, From now on, that's how we're going to do it. So this was not their best outing ever. It was a decent match. I mean, I remember looking at this card and not expecting much from it, and it delivering more. But I also feel like that this was not like the best match that they've ever had. Am I wrong there? Am I remembering it?
Oh, definitely, because their best match had to be between them in Takeover when they had that big thing where Ric Flair came out with his daughter and Bret Hart came out with her niece.
Yeah.
Fuck the Anvil. That's pretty much what happened there.
Well, he wasn't under a Legends contract at the time.
I don't blame him.
But this was a nice and technical match, but clearly this was Charlotte showing that she is the queen bee.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what it was. Charlotte over Natalya. I know we're kind of skimping on the details here. It was so long ago, but like I said, this was a better than average pay-per-view in general, but it was not like the greatest ever, I guess. But the next match,
I mean, there was a reason why it was postponed, and not we didn't.
Right? Why we didn't feel like the need to get it out there right, and we could probably we don't like skipping past pay-per-views, so we're doing it because we're completionists. But we probably could have skipped this one, but we're not going to, because the next match was probably my favorite match. It wasn't the best match of the night, but it was my favorite because it features two of my favorite guys, and that is, of course, Eric Rowan and Luke Harper, the Bludgeon Brothers versus Breezango. Oh my God, they just killed Breezango. And then they did it again on SmackDown.
The worst squash possible.
And then I think they squashed him like 2 weeks after that, and Ascension at the same time. I mean, it was the match couldn't have been more than 4 or 5 minutes. I don't even think...
Well, it was a pay-per-view, so they couldn't pick jobbers to do this match. So clearly that's the reason why Breezango, the bottom of the totem pole, got pretty much cocksmacked.
I do not even think, if I was correct, that Breeze... One of them didn't even tag into the match. Like, Rowan kicked him in the face on the outside, and that was all there was. And then they did that big double, like, slam thing.
Mm-hmm.
That they did. They are building the Bludgeon Brothers up to a feud with Usos here, and this was just a stepping stone to it. And we get to... Man, we were flying through this. But now we're getting to the match that this pay-per-view was built upon.
Mm-hmm.
It was, for their careers, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn versus Randy Orton and Shinsuke Nakamura, for reasons, with special guest referees, plural, Shane McMahon and Daniel Bryan.
This is where the defining moment was, to see where they really were in the roles that they were supposed to be in when it comes to who's for them and who's for what. And to show the evil side of Shane McMahon finally.
I tell you, I like this match. I love this match, but I hate this match. Because it to me, it felt like the wrestlers were background for the Shane McMahon, Daniel Bryan.
Oh, yeah, it was.
They were arguing in the beginning. They basically drew an invisible line down the center of the ring. And I don't know how Shinsuke got punished into forcing to be tagged with the cardboard cutout known as Randy Orton. It was back and forth. Of course, you would expect this to be a great match. The end game of the match, the story of the match would Shane, when it came time, if he had to, screwed Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn out of a pinfall and cost them their careers. Mm-hmm. Now, there was a bit of an elaborate setup for this. Kevin Owens accidentally pushed, or maybe intentionally pushed, Daniel Bryan. And Daniel Bryan fell into Shane McMahon while he was counting a fall that Sami Zayn was getting pinned on. This led directly into a fall when Sami Zayn had Randy Orton for a clear 3 count, and Shane did not count the third. And, like, you could hear the crowd. And even Sammy went, oh. And which led into the end game of Sammy rolling up, I want to say, Randy?
Mm-hmm.
And Daniel Bryan counting the fastest 3 count since
As if he was, as if
since Nick Patrick in back in the old WCW days for the NWO.
As if he was knocking on a door.
Exactly. It was a great match, but I hated the psychology that none of it was on any of the wrestlers.
It was clearly anything you could do, I could do better moment between Shane and Daniel. I think what ruined Daniel Bryan, and I could see, I mean, I understand that they want to make him like this healers dude, but you can't have 2 dicks. You have to have one good guy and one bad guy in this situation, and they made both of them look like shitheads. And they made Shane look like a guilty shithead, like, because the next day they complained about how it's because I got interfered, which is why I didn't do the 3 count. Because there's no reason for Daniel Bryan for the fast count. There wasn't. So
well, I understand the psychology that I couldn't get. I did the fast count because you were going to screw them out, and I was saving you from yourself. I got that. The fact that they've been kind of playing around with Daniel Bryan heel because of it, that I'm not too down with. But nevertheless, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn over Shinsuke Nakamura and Randy Orton, which led us into the last match, which was the WWE World Heavyweight Champion AJ Styles in his rematch with Jinder Mahal. AJ won.
Don't hinder the Jinder.
It was as good a match as Jinder has had, but AJ Styles has a way of making everyone look like $1 million. Jinder looked so good in this match.
I.e. Brock Lesnar versus AJ Styles.
Exactly.
$1 million match.
It was good, but I mean, this match was never going to end with anything but a freaking win for AJ Styles. They were not going to go back with to Jinder.
Well, this is also another example of politics, because actually the original programming for them was to have him world champion until the Royal Rumble.
Yep.
And politics got in the way because they weren't selling tickets in India.
And I'm sure Brock Lesnar went, nope.
Yeah, and so the tickets in India didn't help for Survivor Series, and also the fact that they had 3 big, like, events, like in your houses or whatever they call them at that over there, and 2 of them they had to cancel because there was no tickets, no revenue.
They combined it into one big super show.
Yep, and they made the match at the end with Jinder Mahal against Triple H.
So it was a good match. Again, it was a really Jinder's best match, but AJ Styles has a way of doing it, and that was Clash of Champions. And I would say it was about a B-. You don't think so?
I'm gonna give it a C+.
Okay. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. And it was certainly not the best, but for the few matches like the U.S. title match and the tag team title match were great. The storyline of the selling match was on the referees instead of the peeps, and the world title match was what it was. But we are not finished before the break here. No, because now we get to play Kami. Basically explains TakeOver to Kane.
Story time.
And, yeah, it's story time. It's NXT TakeOver Philadelphia. And this was one of my favorite takeovers. This is one of the more invested takeovers I've been in a long while.
And I really, really like watching them too. It sucks that
I recommend going to see certain matches on this, like our very first match, which was, of course, Hipster Dad and Beaker from the Undisputed Era versus Toka and Razor from the Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze for the NXT Tag Team Champions of the World. It was very interesting what they did with this match. They did basically this thing where I forget which one he is. I think it's Akam. He's the smaller of the 2 guys. Mm-hmm. Kind of hurt his leg, and they were basically playing that up. And you know, Beaker and Hipster Dad are technical wizards, and they were going to town on it. There was a lot of high flying in this. There was a lot of really solid offense. In the end, I believe Beaker managed to steal one because they knocked Razor out of the ring when they were going for the final chapter. Beaker managed to get Akam rolled up as Hipster Dad pulled Razor out of the ring, and you're still your tag team champions, the Undisputed Era. It was a great way to start off the night. It was one of the better It was the third best match of the night. And unfortunately, the problem is that after this match, we get into a little bit of a drought here. Because the second match was Velveteen Dream, who apparently has an entourage now, versus Cassius Ohno.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
So the story of this match was Velveteen Dream apparently said that he was going to knock out Cassius Ohno in 30 seconds. He didn't.
Obviously.
I mean, he got a good hit on him, and he pinned him. But he didn't get like the full 3 count, and then Ohno went to toe. But
it's good to know that Patrick still got into the game, though.
It's one of these things where I got to tell you, Velveteen Dream had a good match with Aleister Black, but I have to wonder if that was because Aleister Black is a really great wrestler. Ohno / Chris Hero is a really good wrestler too. But I've seen Chris Hero do better, and I can't. And I have to think it's Dream's fault. I really do. Dream ended up winning with his whatever it was, and Ohno was sad. Hopefully, they're gonna send Ohno somewhere. But it is what it is. Fourth best match of the night.
You know what's funny is when we talk about TakeOver, it's the best of. Like, this is the fourth best match, not this is the second worst. Like we do.
Well, you say that, but we're about to get to the worst match of the night.
Oh.
And I hate to say it. I really hate to say it. But it was Ember Moon versus Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's Championship.
My bad bitch didn't.
Let me start off by pointing out that in NXT, apparently evil will win because good is stupid. This is one of these matches that were set up. That was just like the backdrop to this was Shayna has shown up at the Performance Center and she broke Bailey 2.0's arm. She choked out somebody in the Performance Center and she started attacking people after their matches. And then Ember Moon would come out to try and stop her. And then she's like, why don't you try that on me? And then Shayna's like, well, I'm not going to fight you unless you put the title on the line. And then Ember, like a dumbass, was like, sure, why not? And that's how we ended up with this match. Now,
true champion, though.
Now, here's the problem with this match. I don't know if they just didn't have chemistry, but I think I told you this but when we were prepping for the show. But it was really one of these things where it seemed like they were really trying to cover up Shayna's weaknesses as a wrestler. Because there was a lot of her just really slowly plotting and going after Ember's arm. Ember hurts her arm, and they were really playing it up. And the last third of the match was a freaking armbar. And it went on for so long, Kane. It went on for so long. Dear Lord. You know,
wasn't that her finisher when she was in the women's Classic?
It was her finisher. But let me put it to you like this. This armbar was on Ember Moon for so long. Vested Mems, friends of the show, who recently had a child, managed to get that child enrolled in kindergarten because that match took up her first 3 years of life.
Unreal.
So long. And then Ember manages to roll her up. 1, 2, 3, your winner, Ember Moon. And then Shayna attacks her after the match.
So I got a big question then.
So did you notice all of that when she was in the Women's Royal Rumble, all that tape on her arm?
That was the kayfabe thing.
Yeah, she was selling.
But that's not my question.
Okay.
Are you considered Uncle Kami?
Yes, I am. I am Uncle Kami.
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
I think that was the more important question than the actual match.
It is.
It sounded pretty damn boring. If Shayna Baszler was just chilling out but trying to do her finisher and Ember's like, nah, fam, let me beat you with a roll-up.
Like, it was so... it was the last third of the match. Easily, you could go from... You could skip from the first match to the fourth match, and you're not missing much. Which, the fourth match was the second best match of the night and my favorite match of the night. It was Aleister Black versus Tootsie Rolls, baby.
He was in the Rumble too. Yes, he was.
This was a hardcore match. Once again, one of these questionable decisions. I'm really worried, Kane, that Regal has had a stroke.
Why?
Well, like, he sits there and Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era, like, beat the crap out of Aleister Black, and then Regal is like, oh, by the way, your match with Aleister Black at TakeOver is now a hardcore match. And it's like, doesn't that mean that his dudes can just come in and interfere whenever they want? It's questionable. But the psychology of this match was awesome. The psychology basically went thusly. I'm Adam Cole, and I have a bunch of weapons. I'm Aleister Black. I don't really need a bunch of weapons. I'm just going to beat the crap out of you. And that was the first, probably 25 to 30% of the match, was just Adam trying to get offense with weapons, and Aleister just like, nope, I'm not going to let you. Until he made a crucial mistake on a moonsault, and Adam Cole got a wicked, like, cane shot, like, to his ribs. It went from there back and forth with weapons and stuff. Pretty damn good, including a pretty sick table spot where Aleister got kicked in the head off of the top turnbuckle and fell back into two tables.
Worse than that was better than the two tables at the last takeover at the War Games.
No, nothing was better than those two tables.
Not even when Kevin Owens went through a similar set in Battleground. No.
This was in between. But at any rate, the Undisputed Era did come out when Aleister Black was about to get the pin. They pulled Black out and beat him up. They put him over by the announcer's desk to try and send him through. And then Sanity comes out, and Eric Young and
Sanity
Desmond Wolfe,
the Manatees.
Yep, beat the crap out of Hipster Dad and Beaker, pull him around the ring, and then Killian Dane does a suicide dive on all four of them, leaving Aleister Black over by...
That big man could fly.
Dude, that big man scares the crap out of me.
I believe it. The
dude goes coast to coast. No, that should not be allowed. He should not...
The laws of physics apply.
That man is 3 times my size. He should not be more athletic than me.
I don't know if that's saying a lot, though.
No. But Adam Cole realized that Black was still out by the announce table, so he tried to do something. And then Aleister did the double knee into the table, breaking it, and then threw him back in the ring. There was another exchange, Black Mass. Aleister Black is your winner.
Winner, chicken dinner.
Finally brought us to the last match of the night.
I have to say, before you say anything, this has to be, from what I heard, one of the craziest matches that happened so far.
Damn good. It was deserving of the 5 stars that Money Meltzer gave it to. The first 5-star match since CM Punk and John Cena back in Money in the Bank. And we are, of course, talking about Cien Almas versus Johnny Gargano for the NXT World Championship. And if you wanted a match with drama, oh my freaking God, was this your match?
Did he bring out Mrs.
The Lady Ciampa? Yes, the Lady Ciampa was there. Candice LeRae got Mrs. Gargano, Mrs. Wrestling got involved. It was.
I hope so, because that woman, what you could call woman, is Cien Almas's manager, who's also like super involved in a lot of his matches.
Yeah, the Lady Ciampa, totally. It was back and forth. It had everything that you wanted in a match. Like, I cannot do this match justice. If you have not seen the match and you're listening to this podcast, go watch it. It was a 5-star match without a shadow of a freaking doubt. The ending came when basically Almas, like inventively on the apron, slammed Gargano into the post, laid him up over there on the post, and then ran and did a double knee and slammed him in, and then did his fisherman hook DDT for the win. It was great. It was heartbreaking. I was not a CN fan. I wasn't even a CN fan when he won it from Gargano. Like Claudius Stain, friend of the show, has talked up Almas a lot.
Yeah, I told you for a while he was a great talent.
And he was a great talent, but this match cemented it. It really did. I am on the Almas train. I am 100%. And then, of course, after the match, as the credits were rolling, freaking Ciampa slams Johnny Gargano in the back with a crutch and then runs off. I'm just saying, we have not seen Selena Vega and Tommaso Ciampa in the same spot, in the same place. I'm telling you, they're the same person.
You have an interesting theory. I'll give you that. And
that was TakeOver Philadelphia. In my mind, it was A-. The two matches, the two filler matches, aggravated the crap out of me, but the good matches were so good, so good. And that was TakeOver. Have I sold you on it? Do you want to go watch the matches now?
I want to watch the last one for sure. And you know what? You really don't have to sell me anything. Eventually, when I have time to do this, which is going to be this time this week, I'm probably going to watch the whole thing. Because, let's face it, sometimes the worst match at NXT is the better match of the best match on the WWE pay-per-views. So...
Well, we will absolutely discuss that, because coming up after the break, we are going to talk about the main event, the Royal Rumble. So,
also known as the Royal Point Maker.
Indeed. The road to WrestleMania, the start of pointing season. So, we will see you after the break.
See you soon, folks.
On behalf of Kane Snuka and myself, the Fated Saint, we would like to thank Meet Chet for our closing theme, Picnic in the Reactor. We would also like to thank, for our opening theme, All Around a Beats for Destruction. And this week, we are kicking it back to a couple of people who really nobody wants to ever see again, but hey, it's a pretty cool mix. So here is Heidenreich versus Ryback by Daily X-Man. Enjoy.
Feed me, Heidenreich. Feed me, Heidenreich. Feed me, Heidenreich. Feed me, Heidenreich. Feed me more. Heidenreich. Feed me more. Feed me more.
Welcome back. I'm your boy, Coming the Faded Saint. That's my boy, Kane Super. What's Snuka? And Off the Ropes is brought to you this week by the letters L and J. And the number 2. Yes, L2J. Because L'Oreal loves the J.
Laurel, this is a personal message. I am your singing candy gram, Instagram, whatever you want to call them. I don't have candy, but I'm your singing telegram. All right. I want you to tell him that the sun and moon shines in his eyes.
Well,
reach out to him. And that's something.
We don't have time for all of that. We've got to get to the Royal Rumble. We've got so much still to do. Let's kick off the Royal Rumble with the Cruiserweights, which replaced the Cruiserweight Championship because somebody got in trouble, but that's all we're going to say about that. It was 3 masked guys who were not Rey Mysterio Jr. versus TJP, Gentleman Jack Gallagher, and Drew Gulak. The 3 guys not named Rey Mysterio in masks won. The best part of the match was Jack doing his little crab walk on the second rope, and Drew saying, "It's not safe," and Jack is like, "It'll be fine. It's not safe. It'll be fine. It's not safe. It'll be fine." And then him doing the diving headbutt and missing, and then Jack like turning around, and he's like, "You were right," and then tagging. They're doing this thing where TJP is on a losing streak, and he's mad at everything, and he pisses off all of things.
We need to ask more important questions. Like, why is the Cruiserweight division treated like the midgets of wrestling back in the 90s?
Well, hopefully now that they've got Rockstar Spud in charge of the division and they're doing the thing, it'll do it. I like the tournament so far that they're doing. That's going to be wrapping up at WrestleMania. I like where they're going with this. And if they can do that if they can make it serious like the Cruiserweight Classic, then I'm on board with watching.
Well, are we going to address the elephant in the room before the Royal Rumble happened?
Are we talking about Enzo?
Well, you don't like talking about Enzo. I know that.
We're not going to address Enzo. We're not going to give him press here. What's the elephant in the room that we're talking about?
He was let go.
Oh, well, he was let go. And they had to vacate the title. And that's why Cedric Alexander didn't challenge for the title at the Rumble like was scheduled.
And that's 2 Cruiserweights down, by the way.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it sucks.
Ironically, both do.
Well, Swan might come back because he was he all the charges were dropped on him. So
I'm not surprised.
But I mean, it's pretty well documented what he did, and needless to say, we're not going to be making any jokes or giving him as little press as we possibly can as far as Swan goes. And if it turns out that everything about Enzo is true, we're going to be talking even less about him. But he was let go. That's why they had to throw this match together. But
scramble it pretty much.
Nevertheless, it was a pretty decent match for a pre-show.
I liked it. Yeah, it was fun. But that's what I'm saying. Why are they treated like the midgets of wrestling? I don't get it. But hopefully you're right. Hopefully this whole turnaround with the tournament is going to make a big difference. The only thing is, I don't see the pull draw on 205 Live right now. There hasn't been a bump in the ratings for them yet.
Well, we'll see. Let's hope here, because it's hard to tell ratings because they're on the WWE network. It's not like they're on a real network.
Yeah, but they have download views or whatever the hell they call them, upload views or whatever the hell it is. But yeah.
At any rate, that brought us to pre-cooked match number 2, The Revival, newly back from injury. Club. And this was basically getting their win back from Raw 25, which was a horrible disappointment. Raw 25 was so disappointing.
You know what's also funny is that the comment of saying nerds to them is the most ironic thing, because they are far from nerds, the Revival. You know?
They are. They totally are. I don't get it. But I mean, this was a good match. I know the club can do better. And I know that the Revival can do better, but they were pre-cooked and they didn't have a lot of time. But it was good for what it was. Hopefully the Revival can get on track and get a title under their belt, because they are really one of the best tag teams in wrestling. And hopefully Club they actually start taking seriously now that they seem like they're doing Balor Club now.
Oh yeah, that is just explosive right now. They had to do something because the Shield is just fell into the ashes again. So they had to do another pull, and the Balor Club is probably the next best pull that you can ask for right now as a faction goes.
Probably the best of the best of the pre-cook matches. Revival over Club. And that brought us to the U.S. Open. Bobby Roode versus Mojo Rawley. Bobby Roode won.
You know, I was really hoping that an NXT new NXT graduate would have came out to that Open challenge. Not goddamn Mojo Rawley. That's almost as disappointing as hearing Baron Corbin's music or something. You know.
I would have rathered Baron Corbin's music at least. Mojo, nothing Mojo. At least Baron, I can make fun of and say he can't play tennis, and I can call him boring Corbin, and I can kind of, rag him and stuff.
Like a love-hate relationship.
Exactly. But nothing Mojo. Like, he's nothing, man. At any rate, Bobby Roode won. It was a nothing of a match, which led us into the pay-per-view proper. And the first match, AJ Styles versus, in a handicap match, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. This was about as good as you thought it would be, but let's be honest, we all knew that AJ was going to pull it out somehow. It was a well contested match. It was a lot of AJ doing what he does best, which is making like his opponent's offense look like $1 million. And then after he did all of that, man, let me tell you, it was just the ending where he was keeping Sammy from tagging. Kevin ran in to try and club him. He pins Kevin, even though Kevin was the illegal man, was a stroke of genius. I just don't know what they do with it from here. I don't know where they go with this.
Well, they definitely turned the tide on them after, as you know, from post SmackDown. And now it's the whole focus about yes, you know what? You're going to get your title shots. But first you have to fight each other to see who gets the title shot.
Right, which is a match that's happening as we're speaking right now. It was a good match. Right after the match, they showed Sammy and Kevin go up to Shane McMahon and say, "You can't possibly let it happen like this." Did you see that? And Shane McMahon was like, "Yep," and walked off. Good match. Great way to start off the Rumble, which led us into probably one of the more head-scratching matches of the night. The Usos, your World Heavyweight Tag Team Champions, versus American Alpha-ish in a 2 out of 3 falls match. And they won 2 straight falls.
That's actually I liked it. I like that whole point. I don't think every time I don't think every time a 2 out of 3 fall situation exists should be 1 and then 1. Sometimes you got to show that that dominance can occur, and I really thought that was the case here.
Well, then that totally makes American Alpha-ish look like complete chumps, and then
they're trying to build them into chicken shit heels. I could say they looking for the. Well, look at even as
chicken shit heels, they're. I can't take them seriously anymore. They couldn't even get 1 fall in a 2 out of 3 falls match. That's pretty freaking poor. And don't get me wrong, the Usos are on fire, and they've been building up the Bludgeon Brothers to be legitimate against them. So we'll see how that works. But
if there was more drama to the both of them in a 2 out of 3 falls against these two, I would be for the whole idea that they both did a one off before the final decision.
This was also another one of those matches that also got lost in the Shane McMahon versus Daniel Bryan shuffle.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, because look at it this way. Look at American Alpha 2.0 right now. They're in the back. They're doing absolutely nothing at all except for preying on the small people like Breezango and the Ascension. And that's it. They're not doing anything else. They're not legitimizing anything else. It's just bullshit stuff that's going on. So why bother? Why have that if it's not going to do a damn thing? So that's pretty much what they're doing. They're trying to build up this chicken shit heel attitude that they have.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was still the Usos, still the champions, 2 falls straight. And that brought us into one of the biggest surprises of the night. And that was the Men's Royal Rumble was in the middle of the show.
Yeah.
And
that was brilliant.
It was brilliant. This was one of the better Rumbles I can remember of the last decade. Just the structure of it. There was a lot of really fun stuff. Baron Corbin was kicked out. He beat up a bunch of people, knocked out Heath Slater, and then Elias came down and he did this walk with Elias. There was a lot
Slater alone was also,
Heath Slater who kept
getting
who kept getting knocked out for like 5 straight people until finally Sheamus threw him in. Going in, and then Sheamus immediately got eliminated. Finn Balor was the Iron Man, so they made Finn Balor look like $1 million. The surprise entrance, more specifically, Rey Mysterio Jr. shows up.
No, the Rey Mysterio, not Jr.
The actual Rey Mysterio showed up. And
fit as a motherfucker, too.
God damn, he looked good. The final 6, where they did the standoff between the new blood and the old blood, you had John Cena, Rey Mysterio, and Randy Orton versus Finn Balor, Shinsuke Nakamura, and...
Well, it was new versus old. So John Cena,
Finn Balor,
and Roman Reigns.
And Roman Reigns.
But it wasn't Finn Balor. Finn Balor was on the other side with Shinsuke.
It was Rey Mysterio, Randy Orton, John Cena, and it was Finn Balor, Roman Reigns, and Shinsuke Nakamura.
There you go.
And there was a lot of drama. There was a lot of like you had Bray Wyatt and Matt Hardy eliminate each other. You had Roman throw Seth out.
You had the funniest moment ever, which is the Hurricane, who looked severely
Hurricane came back.
But he looked severely out of shape. Like
he looked good. He looked. I mean, I've seen him. He's he works out. He's still. All right. Compared to his cruiserweight version of the Hurricane, I guess it's different. Yes, it is very different. Your final 2 were Roman.
He was Hurricane.
Your final 2 were Roman and Shinsuke, and for the smallest amount of time, I actually thought that they were going to actually give it to Roman, because Roman won the last time it was in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
But eventually, surprisingly, your winner of the 2018 Royal Rumble, Shinsuke Nakamura, and we're going to get it. We're going to fucking get AJ Styles versus Shinsuke at WrestleMania. I get to see that match live.
Yes, you do. And you get to see some special effects, as you do know they're not gonna walk Shinsuke Nakamura out in a normal way. They're gonna make that into a beautiful butterfly.
It's gonna be freaking awesome. I am so happy. This was the official Royal Rumble apology tour.
Yeah,
is what it was. I cannot tell you how good this match was. Do you have anything else to say about the Rumble?
They don't want. All right. Overall, I thought this was actually a pretty damn good Rumble. I was surprised to see this men's Rumble to be that good, because I was praying that they would dumb it down just a little bit, because this official women's Rumble. But I have to say, I'm quite humble that they not only did a good job, but they also sacrificed the end card for the women's Rumble.
Yeah, they let the women's Rumble main event it, which is good.
Because you could clearly see that, because that was the biggest fear we all thought was, that's going to happen probably in the beginning of the Royal Rumble, and then guys had their end.
It was good and it was bad, and we'll get to that in a second. But before we get to that, we need to talk about Jason Jordan and Seth Rollins versus The Bar for the Raw Universal Tag Team Champions. No, the last time was on Monday, but the story of the story going into this match is Jason Jordan is actually legitimately hurt. He has a neck injury and he can't grip stuff. So legitimately, he can't wrestle. But I loved how they did this, where they concussed him and then he just sat on the outside. He tagged himself in, tried to go in, tagged himself out, and then just sat on the outside as Seth got beat. One of my favorite tag teams gets prolonged and gets more time. Hooray, The Bar. 2, it totally helps the heel turn of Jason Jordan for when he gets better. And it was a really good match, but I mean, the crowd really kind of hates Jason Jordan, and they kind of did the best that they could with this match, considering Jason really couldn't wrestle. And it's setting up for, hopefully, if he's well enough, for a Jason Jordan versus Seth Rollins match where we can hopefully see what he can really do against a good competitor.
True.
That's my view of it. I mean, it was really straightforward. The Bar won. They're your tag team champions, and I'm looking forward to see who the Bar actually get as a legitimate competitor now.
They need somebody because now I feel the Raw tag team division is starting to lack.
It is a little bit, but they've got the Revival back, so hopefully that turns into something soon.
Yeah, and hopefully Club gets a little bit more action.
Hopefully.
Because right now, I mean, obviously the thing that happened was Jason Jordan, since he's so hurt, they had to rely on half a Shield setup with Roman and
Right.
Roman had to do 2 matches that night.
Yeah, last night on Raw, he basically qualified for the Elimination Chamber, and then he was in a tag team match that Jason Jordan ruined by getting them disqualified by defending himself, and it's dumb. But at any rate, let's get to the match that we don't really want to talk about.
It wasn't all right. Before we get nasty with this, I thought this was still a pretty decent triple threat. You know, it's a typical one though.
It would have been a really decent triple threat if somebody other than Brock had won.
That's not going to happen. Make Brock strong until the WrestleMania, and then make Brock weak.
And then make Roman look strong. But it was Brock Lesnar versus Kane versus Braun Strowman. This was, as it usually is, the Braun Strowman show. Right up until, Brock did his 1 F5 to Kane, and that was it.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. Brock has the most amazing finisher security policy I've ever seen since the Stone Cold Stunner. I don't know.
Yeah, and that's so Roman can kick out of it at WrestleMania, and it's a big deal. I get it. I know why you're doing it, but here's the problem. Brock Lesnar, in the last calendar year, has had, this would be match number 6, has had 6 matches, if you include the Royal Rumble last year. And he's had exactly 2 good ones, and one of them was a fatal 4-way. And the other one was an international
promo. That was it.
Yeah, and the other one was the
international promo Survivor Series. Right.
Yeah, it was the Survivor Series. Yeah, it was a non-title match against AJ Styles, where AJ made him look like $1 million.
I didn't mean international. I meant cross-brand promo.
Yeah. Right. No, but I know what you meant. Yeah. And again, this match was just like every other match he's had. Every single other match. This match was not remarkable. Match was not special. I watched this match, and it was Braun, Brock for the win.
Yeah, and you know what? Braun, I feel like right now is the equivalent to Rusev. In the sense of...
Oh, no, they are pushing him way better than Rusev.
Well, I mean, as far as, getting hot over the crowd and still no deliverance.
Oh, man, he got to power slam Elias and John Cena like 3 times after the match last night. We love Braun. We are pro-Braun here on Off the Ropes.
And on kayfabe-wise, he is the most beautiful soul ever. Like the mixed tag team match alone makes him look like he's a wonderful daisy.
Oh yeah, totally. But with that said, Brock won. Of course, Brock was going to win, and now Brock and let's just talk about this now. Let's just get this out of the way. Alexa Bliss brought up a really good point on Raw that she said that she's got to defend in the Elimination Chamber, but Brock's just got to be anywhere. What fucking writer thought that was a good idea to bring up? That they thought, yes, let's have Alexa say this, and she'll look like she's the bad guy. Because she didn't. Because I was like, yeah, you know what? And that's why I'm like, you know what? You should call Alexa Bliss the Universal Champion, because she's on every house show. She's on every pay-per-view. She's always there, and she is doing. She didn't defend at the Royal Rumble because there wasn't room for her to defend.
And on top of that, she's goddamn gorgeous. Like she's a triple threat. Right
exactly. Now. And
then she's like an undercard.
To me, she is more valuable than Brock Lesnar. Pay that lady Brock Lesnar money because she deserves it. She certainly does more work than Brock. She does more for the WWE than Brock does. Period.
True.
I'm done. So let's talk about the match that we were all waiting for. The last match of the night, the headliner, the big event. Yeah, it meant we had to deal with Stephanie McMahon on commentary, but it was the Women's Royal Rumble. 30 women over the top rope for a chance to challenge one of the two champions at WrestleMania. And I don't care.
Before we begin this, I do want to say, despite that comment you just made, Stephanie McMahon, to me, is the ideal way I would like to see a women's announcer exist on the table.
Renee Young. Renee Young deserves it. Yes. I'm sorry. Oh, wow.
Well, you can say all you want. I'm not disagreeing with you. But I consider Stephanie McMahon's voice and how she did was an ideal way for a women's announcer to exist at a table like that. And Renee Young can pull that off too. She can.
She was an announcer in NXT for a little while, and she was on Superstars for a little while. And you know what? Superstars. Man.
I think test audiences made her squash again, so that's probably what happened.
So there was actually some controversy. There was a lot of people who said that they should have dumped some of the old people who came back in favor of NXT talent. First of all, I'm going to say I like the fact, and we didn't mention this, but Cien Almas got to be an entrant in the Royal Rumble along with Adam Cole. Yeah. They were the only two NXTs, and Ember Moon got to be in the Ladies Royal Rumble. I like the fact that the person who has the championship in NXT gets a spot in the Royal Rumble. I like that idea. WWE, keep that going. I like the fact, I'm not the biggest Kelly fan, but I felt like she deserved it there. Beth Phoenix came back. Trish Stratus, your boo, came back at number 30. Mm-hmm. Lita came back at number 3.
I thought Lita was going to die.
Oh, God, that was some of it. There were a lot of old faces. Molly freaking Holly showed up.
Molly Holly looks also just as good as the day she left.
The only person I wish would have shown up was Ivory. I really wish Ivory would have shown up.
But you know what? She is so over them. Like, she does not have an iota of infinity for WWE because she is actually the true women's revolution of wrestling. She was
in Glow.
She was wrestling when the whole bullshit diva thing happened in their situation. And she was the only one like, can we have legit matches, please? Can we do legit matches now?
I agree. 100%.
Do you remember that Royal Rumble like 20-something years ago where they had the bikini bod match with the King's girlfriend or whatever the hell it was at the time, Kat? And she was like, I'm not doing this. And she was like covered up and stuff like that because she found this was disgraceful. She is the OG women's revolution talent of that era. And
I agree.
Yes, I would have loved to have freaking seen her that night.
I am the biggest Ivory fan. I can only assume that they couldn't get her for whatever reason.
Yeah, I'm assuming she declined. She has have too much pride.
Probably, but I mean, other than that, for all of you people who thought more NXT people, I would have loved to have seen Nikki Cross. I really would have. Yes. However, I would have. Yes. But you know what? The groundwork was laid with all of these other ladies. Your Tori Wilsons,
Carrie was another NXT person.
Yeah, Carrie was in it too. Now that I'm thinking about it, Carrie Sane did make it, and I'm fine with that. But here's the thing: for all of you people who are complaining that those spots like Tori Wilson and Kelly are the ones that get called out specifically.
Well, Tori, I don't agree with. I think she was a horrible decision. She had the worst part about Tori Wilson is she had this sadistic smile as she was wrestling, like I'm here, I'm gonna show my smile because it's like a promo thing, right? I get white strips to pay me when I do this. Some kind of attitude. It was just shit. She was terrible.
Maybe not, but I feel that she has earned her place as one of the women. She may have been a part of the bra and panties era, but it's one of those things where I'm okay with it. And the match was great. It was just as good as the other Royal Rumbles, as the other Royal Rumble. And Jesus H. Christ, the freaking New Japan people swept the Rumble as Asuka, in the end, manages to get Nikki Bella out. And she is your winner of the first ever and 2018 Women's Royal Rumble. They had Charlotte and they had Alexa on the outside. They came in and she was like, oh, who am I going to challenge for? And then...
Before we get to that,
I have a graphic for it too. So
let's just rewind it just a little bit. I have my own commentary about the Women's Rumble before we get to the point of Mania.
Go for it. We're all on you.
Okay. So one thing first. Can we stop Goldberging Asuka after Mania? Please?
No.
Please?
No.
Please?
No.
Please?
No. No.
Okay. All right. I'm not going to go there then. But the balls on Lita with the whole time's up thing. I'm not saying I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Let's not get the feminists out here and kill me thing. I'm just talking about in a political environment that was not political situation for the Rumble, having that time's up thing on there makes me think that there's something going on in the WWE. And if that's the case, I don't want to know that. I don't want to know I don't want to know the WWE as they are if this is actually happening right now in this situation. So I thought that was a big ballsy move to put that out there to stamp out that WWE might be part of the time's up situation. I hope that was something of her own decision and not someone up there, because that was, I thought personally, a bad move. Now I'm a guy, and I and obviously my opinion on this is going to be severely biased in a way, because obviously I'm not part of that movement. I shouldn't deserve to be part of that movement. I should only support it. And in this case, I am. I'm very supportive of it. I just didn't find it appropriate for this because, like I said, I feel like that's associating the WWE now with this. And I don't want to think that's going to be it. And if it is, that's got to stop. So other than that, when it comes to everything else, I thought Tori Wilson and unfortunately Edge's wife, Beth Phoenix, I felt that those two should have not been in the Rumble because they were only Tori Wilson was only there for the pop, and Beth Phoenix I felt was the same way. Even though she's the Glamazon, and technically she's the first woman to be in both a men's and a women's Rumble. Mm-hmm. I still don't. I feel like there was nothing much there except to be there to be for the Nia Jax thing, and to hug Natty Neidhart. Because every other female wrestler that joined in that Rumble really did work. So I just felt that those are the only. If I had to pick two legends to not do this, it would have been those two to add more people from NXT. Because Kelly still worked hard. Undertaker's wife.
Michelle McCool,
the MVP Legend of the Night. One thing I also didn't like the whole pattern is that I noticed that there was a pattern. Legend would come in, throw out a WWE talent, then get thrown out themselves. So all of them have pretty much had that similar situation where they came in, threw out a talent, and then they themselves got thrown out. With the exception of Michelle McCool, she threw out a bunch of talent before she got thrown out. But then again, she was like the tallest women's wrestler in that whole thing.
Oh yeah,
right?
Totally.
She was like super tall. So I thought that was
maybe Nia Jax is a little taller.
Yeah. And I also, even though Sasha Banks was in there the longest, with air quotes, by the way, the longest, meaning taking the most breaks outside the ring.
Let's be honest. Finn, you did the same thing too.
Not as much, dude.
He took a couple of nappy naps on the outside. Finn was laying out there halfway through with his wrestling buddy.
No, I have to say,
taking his nap.
Though I have to say, it doesn't go as far as Roman being knocked out for most of the Rumble and then coming back, like it was when he did the one versus all thing. But I have to say, this was a spectacular first women's Royal Rumble.
Oh yeah, totally.
And they totally ballsed out, did the most amazing stuff. The Bellas did a fantastic work shoot at the end. I thought the whole thing was, and then of course, which is where I had to pause you, this bullshit happened.
Which of course, right as to steal Asuka's thunder, Ronda Rousey comes out and does a lot of pointing, tries to shake Asuka's hands. Asuka rightfully says, "What the fuck are you doing in my spotlight?" She goes and she goes and she shakes Stephanie McMahon's. Does a lot of the. You notice it's very obvious that Ronda Rousey is an anime fan because she was doing the Dragon Ball One Piece, like, I'm gonna go there kind of deal. And I didn't like it. I understand that they did what they had to do. They did what they had to do, and they got a lot of press out of it. Man, did you see Wendy's? Wendy's was throwing shade at Ronda Rousey.
Well, they said why they didn't enjoy the Rumble,
and she said I could show up. I could just show up at the end and point at the WrestleMania sign.
Yeah, point at a sign. I think the other thing that killed me is, you know what? It happened also with Tori Wilson. And I'm going to say this again. If you're trying to be serious or trying to show that you're important to something, don't break character with your face. Don't smile. Don't start giggling. And Ronda was
she was like, the place. She'd be like serious Ronda, and then she'd just like start giggling because this
is so cool.
Which, by the way, Shayna Baszler, your special card power tapped Shayna Baszler so that she can get pushed because she's Ronda Rousey's friend. That power does not actually work if Ronda Rousey is in play.
Yeah.
For you card game nerds out there, I threw that in there just for you.
Some amount of there. But I have to say, one of the things that also was irking me, why did you choose that song, Ronda?
That's the song that she walked out to in the UFC.
Oh, what? Okay. Oh,
yeah.
never mind.
No, that's why.
This is me not knowing shit about MMA or UFC.
No. She walked out to that. A lot of people gave her shit because they're like, "Why are you doing a Roddy Piper cosplay?" She did that in UFC. She actually went to Roddy Piper when she started, and she said, "I would like to be called Ronda Rousey. Is that okay with you?" And he said, "You have my blessing." That's why when Piper died and she had her first match after that, she made a big deal about it to say that he was in his heart because he was her favorite wrestler. So for those of you who are nitpicking that part, go away. And she walked out because that's what the WWE wanted her to do. So it is what it is.
I'll give it that. But they're doing some shit. They're doing a shit job maintaining that hype because so far it's 2 SmackDowns in a row, no Ronda.
This was Ronda's not going to show up, and Ronda's not going to show. First of all, Ronda's not going to show up until a pay-per-view.
Don't Brock Lesnar, Ronda Rousey, and Goldberg. Oscar.
They are going to do. What is this bullshit that they're doing here on the Mixed Match Challenge? Why are you? Okay, we got to wrap this up. Because I'm going to blow a gasket trying to figure out what they're doing. What is up with your hair, Daniel Bryan?
Oh yeah, the head. He's got that weird nerd look going on.
By the way, I like the Mixed Match Challenge. I know not a lot of people do, but I've enjoyed it.
Why do they not like it?
I don't know. It's not getting the Facebook ratings or whatever.
It's Facebook.
Don't look at me, man. I don't know why they. But apparently it's not. But apparently there may not be a second one. So enjoy it while you can, guys. I like this. I would have liked it better if they let the guys and if they let the girls wrestle the guys. But I get why they're not.
Well, okay, let's be real here. Braun Strowman would not be a contender in this thing if that's the case. They would all have to be around the same build and same height. Because just imagine tagging in freaking
Braun
Becky
versus
Lynch.
Becky?
Yeah, like she'd be dead. She'd be dead before she. I mean, Sammy doesn't stand a match either, but she'd be even worse. You know.
But that was the Royal Rumble. Look, you could see what we thought about the last 3 Rumbles or the last 2 Rumbles because we were doing the podcast then.
3 years.
This is by far the best Rumble that we've ever reviewed.
I'm so thirsty for a Rumble that I'm gonna grade this an A-.
I'm gonna grade it. You know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna say A+.
What?
I'm gonna say A+.
That breaks your rule. It breaks all your rules. Do not lie to the people. This breaks all the rules. Ronda
Rousey is not enough to cause a letter grade. I was annoyed by it.
I could see an A or an A-, but A+, I'm gonna have to challenge you. Get the flag.
You can challenge me, but here's my logic. The pre-cook matches were pretty good. There's only one real match that I hated, which was the Brock match. But as you pointed out diligently, it was the Braun show for the most of it, and they kept the Brock stupidity to a minimum, just at the end of the match. Fair enough. They did their best to work around Jason Jordan. But the Rumble was superb. Both of them were superb.
Yes.
Freaking
Booyaka.
freaking Rey Mysterio and the Hurricane show up. Freaking Shinsuke Nakamura and Asuka win. You know, the New Japan darlings. They are giving us AJ versus Shinsuke at WrestleMania.
All right.
They're giving us Shinsuke and AJ at WrestleMania, and we get 2 months worth of build up for it.
You know what? I'm going to change mine to an A, but I'm not going to give it an A plus.
That's fine.
Brock always winning was bullshit. I was actually the opposite on that side of the fake tag out for AJ to win kind of thing. I thought that AJ should have won in diligent form because he is that good, and everyone would have been okay with him for either phenomenal forearming or. I mean, does he even do his ultimate finisher anymore? I haven't seen that in forever.
Styles Clash?
Yeah.
He breaks it out on pay-per-views.
Okay. He didn't break it out last pay-per-view.
He didn't have to.
Yeah. But like phenomenal forearm or even a calf crusher.
Well, let's be fair. The last 2 pay-per-views that he did break it out for Jinder. Mm-hmm. He didn't break it out for Brock. Because let's be honest. He was having trouble putting it on Cena. Cena's head was hitting the ground when he was doing it.
Yeah, he's a tiny dude. To have him do it is ridiculous.
But it's one of those things. It's one of those things where A+. I will give it to him, but I'm trying to think of where I was going with this. Oh yeah, AJ Styles. AJ did not need the calf or the not the calf crusher. The
phenomenal forearm.
He's got so many freaking finishers at this point.
Styles Clash, phenomenal forearm, or the calf crusher,
which I'm fine with. I like that because any one of them can be the end game. I like having multiple finishers.
I'd say the phenomenal forearm is more of a specialty move, not a signature, but it's still pretty up there. It does win matches. It's like how the Superman punch got reduced to a specialty move, and the spear is his signature. It's kind of like that with Roman.
Right. At any rate, that brings us to, if I can get the right one. Yeah, there we are. Okay, that brings us to the end of the show. Wow, I went through all of my filters besides the one I was looking for when I was trying to do that transition. Oh, well, what can you do? At any rate, that brings us to the end of the show. The next time you are going to talk to us is Elimination Chamber. I imagine at that point we're going to go to the shorter shows because we're going to be just doing one pay-per-view a month.
Except for the big WrestleMania, of course. And well, you know what? This might be an interesting one because you're going to get first-hand experience for the 2 pay-per-views.
I'm going to be in the stands, so I'm going to be watching it live. You're going to be watching it on TV, and I'm not sure. I'm
going to be watching it to try to watch for you.
I would be shocked if you see me. I did not. I was thankfully for my birthday. My mother bought me and my brother tickets. My sister and her fiance and her friends are going with us as well. So all of us are going to be in the same area. I am going to NXT TakeOver New Orleans with Best the night before.
Did you also go in the Hoff or no?
The what?
The Hoff. Did you get tickets to Hoff Hall of Fame?
No.
Okay.
Because the idea is that I'm still on the fence whether or not I'm going to pay the $200 to go to fucking Raw. And if I go to Raw, I'm going to end up going. And here's another stupid thing, if I just may say. So you know how I told you Raw was $200 for the cheapest seats?
Yeah.
SmackDown the very next night, $35.
That hurts.
Like it's literally the Raw after WrestleMania costs almost as much as it does to go to WrestleMania.
It's the radiation, man. It depreciates.
But I might do it just so that I can say that I went to all 4 events. And here's the thing that hurts. I almost didn't go to NXT in favor of going to Ring of Honor, which is on the same night in New Orleans.
Yeah, that's right.
But I decided I was going to go to NXT, and then right after I bought the tickets for NXT, they announced Kenny Omega versus Cody.
Which, by the way, just so you know, don't ever say, "Oh, Ring of Honor is only out there because they're trying to live off the coattails and they're trying to take away money from WWE. That's not true.
Absolutely, they are. But you know what?
But not in the way that you think about it. I want you to realize something.
WrestleMania weekend is the biggest wrestling weekend.
That's what I'm trying to point out, is that it's not just when WrestleMania comes to town, everybody who can book will book in that area because it becomes the whole week.
Let me give you an idea of just how much shit is happening that weekend. That whole week that's going in. Wildcat Wrestling is doing a show that week, who is the local promotion, which I go to with Untested Methods and his wife and his daughter and some other people as well. I've gone with my brother and I've gone with Veston as well. Got to see the Sandman live, going to their Triple X show with Veston and Mims. On top of that, you've got Ring of Honor, who's doing their thing. There is a convention at the convention center.
Yeah, WrestleCon, right?
WrestleCon. Plus, there's fan access, Hall of Fame, NXT, WrestleMania, Raw, SmackDown. Oh my freaking
and most
God.
Most likely 2 other promotions are going on during that time too. Because
they
book up everything in that area. Wherever WrestleMania is, that hub is the sounding surroundings for everything else that's going on. I didn't realize this until last year when I was watching some YouTube channels I follow a lot, and they were covering so much going on that one week down in it was Texas, right?
No,
it
was Orlando.
Orlando. There was so much going on in Florida that time that is just ridiculous. And the WrestleCon alone is worth going to if you have a chance, because you're going to see everybody there. Everybody and their mother gets a payday.
It absolutely was. But to get back to it, the next time you're going to hear from us is Elimination Chamber. And it's probably going to be a shorter show. We're probably not going to have a break because we're just doing the one pay-per-view, and we're probably going to we're going to talk about what we're going to do. It may be a longer show. We may have a break. We may not. We're still discussing the format going forward with the one pay-per-view a month deal. But we're going to see what we're going to do. Hopefully this time neither of us get sick or there's no holidays or anything to deal with. But we would like to end the show by thanking, of course, Me Chet for our closing theme that you're about to hear, Picnic in the Reactor. We'd like to thank All Around the Beats for our opening theme, Destruction. And we would like to thank Daily X-Man for the mashup that we have today during the break. And until Elimination Chamber, we will see you on the next podcast.
Later, folks.